I'm sure you were underwriting deals, giving brokers feedback and that sort of stuff. Like the first one that you bought, like how did you determine like that was the one? Because I mean, I think that's a really big step for, it's kind of like your first property, right? Like there's some uncertainty. Are these, I mean, you're back to like the first, like, are the expenses going to be all the research that I've done? Is that going to be right? And so there's like some sort of like anticipation or hesitation to like make that jump. And I'm just wondering like, those, was it strictly just by the numbers, or were like, you like the location and there you saw some like upside and some like extra things?
It's a little of all of the above. So what I did in the beginning when I went down there is I kept underwriting, and I would go all as if I'm going to buy that thing tomorrow. I would underwrite it all the way through, and then I would look at the numbers, and then I'd figure out what the debt service is, and it doesn't make sense. So I would call the broker and I would say, I don't see how, I don't understand. Can I show you my numbers? No, nobody wants to do this. Show the brokers your numbers. Well, I'll show you my numbers. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Yeah.
If I'm missing something, look, I'm new in this market. I get it. I'm willing to acknowledge that I might make a mistake. Please tell me what I'm not doing right. And they would never come back and say, oh my gosh, you're nuts. They just weren't. So guess what? They knew they were fishing. They knew that the numbers didn't make sense, but that doesn't mean their job isn't to go find a buyer anyway. They do. So that's why I really got into trusting the numbers. Trust the numbers no matter what. Just trust them. And so now when I did find my first deal, when I say I'd underwritten a lot of deals, we're talking about 50, 75, 100. I mean, when I beat stuff up, I really beat stuff up. You don't necessarily need to do that much work, but you do have to do some. And then this first property we bought in Florida was in Clearwater. And if you've ever driven through Clearwater, Florida, I mean, it is extremely dense. The beach is 5 miles away. One of the most beautiful beaches in the United States is right there. The property is right across the street from a place called Bright House Field. It's where the Phillies did their spring training. And the traffic there was just horrific because there were so many people that wanted to be there. And so in my mind, I'm not used to that in Cleveland. That doesn't happen in Cleveland. Okay, I'm like, oh my God, this place is nuts. How this location is just amazing. It's 10 minutes from the airport. I mean, it just was, well, maybe 20 is a little exaggeration, but and if you know much about Tampa, there's just water everywhere.
Yeah,
people love to be around water. They just do.
I mean, like St. Pete's Beach and like all those beaches up and down the coast until you get to like Clearwater. Like it's pretty amazing.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're absolutely amazing. Yeah. And it was in a good neighborhood. And it was with that very first broker that gave me the time of day many years prior. I actually bought it through him. So at that point, we had developed some trust, and, I trust but verify. So I felt there was good upside here. The property, we bought it from a guy. The story's actually out on our YouTube channel, KRI Partners on YouTube. It's the Clearwater success story, I think is what it's called. But the property, they had bought it. It had been in foreclosure back during the recession, and they tried to flip it into condos. Didn't work out because it never did. And so they bought it. They did a lot of work to it, but they had this very strict budget. And once they spent their money, they were done. And there were still a lot of good things that could happen here. And I could see that. I could see that we could do those things because I'd done so many value add deals up to that point. I knew that we could make it much nicer. I think when we bought it, the rents were like 800 plus or minus. I can't remember exactly. And when we sold it, they were like 11 and a quarter. So we added tremendous value to that property. So I guess the answer to your question is all the experiences I had done, I had been through, all the homework that I had done, and remember, all during this time period, I hear about this guy buying and doing and selling, and this guy buying, doing and selling. I was like, Jesus, everybody's doing this. This can really happen. So there was so many things that led me to believe that this was a real deal. Now, again, you still have, you're never going to be 100% confident in anything. I mean, we're not to this day. We don't know for sure things are going to work out, but we were as sure as we could be when we did that first deal. And, we held it for 2.5 years. And I think our investor annual return was like 30% annual returns on that deal. So, it always helps when your first one really knocks it out of the park. It helps a lot.
That definitely helps.
If you like the content that we've shared here, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell. So thank you again and have a wonderful day.